All right. So now we'll be talking about moment and couple. Um, why we want to move into this, because now we will proceed into discussion on rigid bodies. In the previous 4 weeks, we have talked about the effect of forces on a particle, okay, on a point. Now we'll be looking at the effect of these forces on a rigid body, okay, and we'll be starting off with 2D forces. Basically, all these forces acting on a rigid body in 2D space, and then we'll move on to 3D space. Okay, so in the end of the day, we expect you to be able to determine the moment of any forces acting on a point or axis in 2D and 3D. And then later on, once you understand the effect of these forces or moment on the rigid body, we will be looking at couple, which is the coupling of these forces and its net effect on the rigid body. And then we'll see where we can apply this couple to simplify our system to create an equivalent force couple system. Okay, let's proceed with the difference between particle and rigid body. Okay, so now we have particles on the left hand side and rigid body on the right hand side. Okay, so for the case of particle, let's say we call this particle A. We have 4 forces, F1 until F4, acting on this particle. So if I were to draw it, it will be something like this. Okay, let me bring this up first. Oh, no, not this one. Wait a moment. All right, okay. So in this case, let's say we have F1 until F4 here, okay, and all these forces is acting at point A. We can see that all of them is acting or intersecting at the same point, okay, so all of them are intersecting at the same point. So if we want to do the same thing, apply the same magnitude and direction of forces on a rigid body, and that rigid body could be a body AB, okay. So for a rigid body, we can have 2 points, A and B, or to be frank with you, the number of points is limitless. You can have so many points that you like on rigid body. You can have A, B, C, D, and so on. Okay, so a rigid body is basically comprises of multiples of points, particle attached to it. Okay, so let's say in this case we describe this rigid body as rigid body AB. Okay, and the forces F1 and F4 can be applied at arbitrary location. Okay, we can apply it at A or and B or at any point in between. So since the rigid body has a dimension attached to it, okay, as compared to particle has no dimension. We have only mass attached to a particle. But for the case of rigid body, we not only have mass, we also have dimensions attached to it. So the forces can be applied at not just a single point, it can be applied at multiple points, arbitrary point on top of this rigid body. So due to this, it will have some effect on the rigid body. Okay, and this effect will come in the form of moment. Okay, so to give you a simplified version of what moment is, if you have a force, force is the one that is causing the object to move or to stop it from moving. Okay, so if you have a resultant of forces which is not equal to 0, the object will eventually move. But if you have the resultant of forces equals to 0, the object will be in equilibrium, it will be in static condition. Okay, so in the case of forces being applied at different location, the forces might not be the resultant of forces might be equal to 0, but the net effect will still cause the object to move. in a different way, okay, compared to the case of particle. The object can move in a different way. Okay, what do I mean by that? We will see that in a moment. Okay, all right, so let me test your intuition. Okay, so in this case, I have a simple problem. What is my problem? I have a bar or a beam, okay, in 2D sense. All right, so it's just like some rod, something like that. Okay, and then I think I've given you this example a lot in the class. So if I want to support this bar or my marker in the class, the simplest way is to put my finger right underneath the center of gravity of this particular bar. Okay, so in this case, what do we know? We know at the CG location. So we have the here CG location. We have the weight acting at the CG location. And if I can support it directly underneath, so in this case, I'm supporting it using smooth rod or my finger, both are possible. So in the end of the day, what will we having? We will be having something like this. We'll have weight, okay, and then we'll have normal force coming from my support. Okay, so this will be the free body diagram of the rod. Okay, something like this. And if the location of N and W are exactly along the same line, everything will be in balance condition. In static condition, it's not moving. Okay, so everyone got the idea? Pretty simple, right? Okay, so if you are still unsure what I'm talking about, let me change this into something else. Is it? Where is it? Yeah, this one. Okay, so here, okay, here what I have is the same bar. Okay, if I let it loose, so what will happen here is due to the gravity, it will fall down. Okay, so it will fall down, just like what we expected. Okay, and we have the weight equals to mg. Okay, and once it's directly on the floor, we will have normal force acting against it. So it's not moving at all. Right now, it is in equilibrium condition. Okay, so starting, it is being hold in space and then being let loose. Okay, it will fall down and hit the ground. Okay, very simple. All right. So if I have the same thing, same bar, right? Okay. Now I put the support underneath it. Okay, exactly at the middle. So as I've mentioned earlier, we have the weight acting at the CG location. All right. And if I can apply support down here, so we'll have normal force directly underneath the weight. So everything will be along the same line. Theoretically, everything will stay put. Okay, it will not move at all. All right. So if we run the simulation, that is exactly what we will see. Loosen up. Okay, nothing is happening. The bar is not moving at all since it is being supported by the smooth rod, the one depicted by this red dot here. Okay, that is what we have here. Okay, so let me switch this back. Now, if I have something like this, the same rod again, okay, but now I'm supporting the rod or the bar at both ends. Okay, so that is what I'm having here. So we have two support here. So what do you think will happen? Will it fall down? Anyone?
No, sir.
Definitely it will not fall down. Okay, common sense tells you that it will not fall down. Okay, now if okay, if I change it into the case in B here, Okay, again, the same thing applies. We have weight acting here. Okay, A will have this kind of configuration. Will the bar falls down? Will it falls down?
No.
No. Okay, very simple. How about the other one here? C. Again, we'll have weight here. Will it falls down?
It will. It will, sir.
It will. Okay. Probably you still can't describe it using statics knowledge yet. Okay, but we'll see what we have here for all these three cases. Okay, in the first one we have weight, right? Okay, we have the weight, and then we have normal force directly underneath the weight. So that's the reason why the bar itself will not fall down. In the second case, what we have here is the same weight. We are not changing the bar. It's the same bar. And then underneath, we have two support instead of one. So here we'll have, let's say, N1 to represent the force from support 1, and we have N2 to represent the support from support N2. Generally, in this case, hopefully you can picture this in your head by now. If we have two support, okay, and something in between here, the weight pointing downward, if we have two support N1 and N2, if the distance between N1 and N2 are not the same, say here is A, this is B, if A not equals to B, we should know that N1 should not be equal to N2 as well. Okay, I hope you can see that. Common sense, right? Since A and B is not the same, so N1 and N2 should not be the same as well. So based on your engineering judgments, which one is larger, N1 or N2?
N2.
N2 is larger compared to N1, right? N2 is larger compared to N1, all right? So if we change to the case C here, what we have here is still weight, all right? And theoretically, we'll have N1 and N2 as well, okay? And of course, the distance A and B are also not the same. So here we have A, here we have B. Distances are not the same, all right? But in this case, the object is still not in equilibrium, even though we are saying that for the first case, N is equal to W. For case A, N is equal to W, fine. For the case B, N1 plus N2 will be equal to W. All right, fine. Okay, this is for case B. And for case C, actually we can write the same equation as in case B. N1 plus N2 still equals to W. But what gives here? Okay, what happens such that the object is now no longer in equilibrium. It starts to move, okay? The easiest way for me to demonstrate that, again, I'll go back to, sorry, let me clear this up. Go back to our simulation here, okay? So, just one, right? So this is exactly our case C here, okay? Again, we have W, and we have N1 and N2. We know N1 is not equal to N2. Most probably N2 is larger than N1. Okay, so this is the case that we know for this particular problem. Okay, so if we let it go, so what will happen here? Okay, so if I let it go, again, the force is the internal force of the bar. Weight is still the same. We are not changing anything. Okay, the reaction force, the sum of them should be equal to the same weight. Nothing is changing. In terms of summation of force, we are still getting the same thing. Summation of force along y still equals to 0. Why is that? Because we have N1, 2, and too fast. Okay. Summation of force along y still equals to 0. N1 plus N2 still equals to W. Okay, so we have two forces pointing upward again, and then we have one forces pointing downward. Obviously, N1 plus N2 minus W will be equal to 0. So this is our summation of force along y direction. Okay, so summation of force still equals to 0, but the object is not in equilibrium. We have learned before, in the case of particle, if the summation of force or the resultant acting on the particle equals to 0, the object or the particle will be in equilibrium. It's not moving at all. Now, we have a possibility of the object, which is in this case a rigid body, moving, even though it fulfills the equilibrium condition of summation of force equals to 0. Okay, so we can check what will happen. This is what will happen. Okay, so let me repeat again. Summation of force still equals to 0, but the thing is, summation of something is not equals to 0, and that something is causing this object to move. Okay, so if I were to ask you, what is the type of motion the object is moving with? Okay, so if I want to compare it with the other, let me bit. Okay, take this guy, put it side by side. Okay, we have the same bar here. Now I'm gonna let this loose as well. Okay, so in both cases, summation of force, sorry, it's not both cases. In this case, summation of force along y equals to 0, but in this case, there's nothing to support it. Okay, so now we want to compare the type of motion between these two. Okay, on the left hand side with support, on the right hand side without support at all. Okay, so if I let it loose, what's the difference between the type of motion between these two?
The one at the left is like rotating.
Okay, the one on the left is rotating. The one on the right hand side is falling down straight. Okay, so that is the main observation here. Okay, the summation of force is equal to 0 means that the object is not moving in a straight line motion, but summation of something is not equal to 0, and due to that the object is now not moving in straight line motion, yes, but it is rotating. So if the object is able to rotate, that means the object is not in equilibrium. Okay, so what is the thing that is causing the object to rotate? The thing that's causing the object to rotate is, in simplest term, will be rotational force. But since the name is not so fancy, we call it moment. Okay, so moment is the rotational force that is causing the object to rotate. Okay, so for equilibrium, the object needs to have summation of force equals to 0 so that it will not move in a linear motion, and the summation of moment should also be equal to 0 so that the object is not rotating. Okay, so the object needs to fulfill these two requirements. Okay, and that particular object needs to be a rigid body. Okay, for a particle, it's not applicable to say summation of moment equals to 0 for a particle, since all the forces is acting on the same point. So the forces will not be able to rotate the point. In fact, if you rotate the point, you can't see the point rotating at all. It's just a point. Okay, but for a rigid body, the rigid body can rotate, just like our example here. Okay, you can see that it is rotating. Okay, the orientation of the rigid body is changing. Okay, and how do we change the rotation? By applying moment to the rigid body. So in this course in statics, to ensure that our rigid body to be in equilibrium, not moving at all, we have to ensure that summation of force equals to 0 and summation of rotational force or moment equals to 0 as well. Okay, so basically that's the idea where we got this moment from. Okay, and to be precise with you. This happens because the forces is not acting on the same point. Okay, so here we have F1 until F4. All of them is acting on the same point, at point A. Okay, so they are intersecting at the same point. Okay, so if the forces are intersecting at the same point, no moment will happen. Okay, but in the case of rigid body, since the force is acting at different point, so you'll have moment, moment being generated for this particular rigid body. Okay, so that's the reason why we need to study moment, understand how moment affects our rigid body. Okay, hopefully it's clear for all of you. All right.
Sir.
Yep.
I want to ask if the solution of forces is not equal to 0, then there is no moment.
If what? The summation of forces is not equal to 0.
Yes.
Okay. If the summation of forces not equal to 0, the object will move.
There is no moment on the rigid bodies, or still have moment.
Okay. Let us do this one by one. If summation of force is not equal to 0, okay, when I say summation of force, this can be along X or along Y, okay, or in 3D form along Z as well. Okay, so in general, summation of force not equal to 0, the object can move. Okay, how it moves? It moves in a linear motion. Linear motion means it moves in a straight line. Okay, so basically the orientation of the object will still the same as it moves, right? So if, okay, how, what do I mean by linear motion? Okay, linear motion means it moves in a straight line either along X, Y, or Z axis, or combination X plus Y, Y plus X, and so on. Okay, but still the motion is straight line motion, meaning the object itself is not rotating. Okay, so if we have summation of force not equal to 0, can we have moment for the particular object? Okay, yes, we can have moment for that particular object, especially when summation of force not equal to 0. So if we have moment, okay, for that particular object, and summation moment not equal to 0, so the object will rotate. Okay, so this is the first case. Summation of force not equal to 0, summation moment is also not equal to 0, so the object will move with a linear and rotational motion in combination. Okay, so this is the first case. Next case, summation of force is not equal to 0, summation moment is equal to 0. Can this happen? Yes. Okay, so in this case, the object will only move linearly. Okay, previously it moves in linear and rotational motion together, since both of them are not 0. Here we have only summation moment not equal to 0, so the object will move linearly due to this force here. Okay, can we have summation of force equals to 0? Okay, summation of moment not equals to 0. Yes, we can have this as well. So now how the object will move, it will rotate only. Okay, this is also possible. Okay, so we have multiple cases here. All right, depending on the magnitude of the force, where the force are being applied on the rigid body. Okay, are we clear on this?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Let us move on. Okay, so we have covered this, and based on your engineering intuition, you know for case C, the object will move. How it moves, it will rotate as it falls down, and it is rotating due to the effect of the moment acting on this particular rigid body, causing it to rotate. Okay, all right. So if you look around, you'll see the effect of moments everywhere. Okay, so for example, in this case, we have mishaps, accidents happening in the industry due to the effect of moment. Okay, in terms of summation of force, yes, it is equal to 0, but summation of moment is not equal to 0. So because the summation of moment not equals to 0, you can see that this heavy machinery, the crane and so on, tips over, okay, due to moment. Okay, and if you look at the types of motion, all of them is rotating as they move. So this indicates that we have moment acting on the body, okay, or on the machine, right? So this effect is pretty serious, okay, especially in the industry, okay. So you can see that as the object fails, when it falls down, it is rotating, okay, when it falls down. So that rotation motion is due to moment, okay. So you need to consider the effect of moment, okay, when we do calculation to ensure that the object will be in equilibrium, it's not failing, okay. This is another example of rigging failure. Everyone knows what rigging stands for. Rigging means you are moving something by hoisting using cable and so on. So that's what we call rigging. Okay, this is a very common activities that we do in industry and the site, especially moving a heavy object from one location to the other. When we want to install our machinery, we have to move it. Normally we do it using cranes, and we have to support everything. And when we support everything, it means that we need to ensure that all the forces will be in equilibrium such that nothing will fall down. Okay, so if something fails, you will see the effect of the forces and you will see the effect of moments acting on uh, the object as it falls down. So for example here, let me play this one for you. You can see what happens. Okay, in this case, they try to lift this up, and if the calculation is wrong, the force in the cable is too much, everything fails. Okay, and when that happens, take care of your life. Okay, basically that's the message here. Okay, so when something breaks, it can fails in a very disastrous and quick way. Okay, so my advice to you is make sure after this, when you work in the industry, take care of your health, okay, and safety. Okay, because in the end of the day, you are the one responsible for your own health and safety. Okay, so please don't skip on safety, because if something bad happens, no amount of money in the world could fix that. Okay, so take care of your safety, especially in workplace involving all of these hoisting and rigging. Okay, I think some of you might have seen this kind of defying moment. Okay, basically, street performers have done all of these tricks, especially in Europe. It's quite famous. Okay, they personate a bronze statue, and this statue is a living statue. If you put some money on in the box, it will move. Okay, to thank you a bit. And when you see the statue, it is in physically impossible pose, I would say. Okay, so it almost defies what we learn about moment. Okay, if all of these is possible, our crane previously will never fall down; it will stay in place. Okay, so the thing is, you can't fight against the law that God have created for this universe. So there must be a way to accomplish this. Okay, so as those who have learned about statics, engineering, you should be able to figure out what is happening here. Something must be happening here, okay, to allow all of this to be possible. Okay, let me show you some of their secret. So this is one of the posts. So the guys basically almost standing in the air. By the end of the day, what they have here is a very elaborate supporting system supporting the guy through the pole that is connected to a bar running through his hand, and then underneath his bottom here we have a seat. Okay, so basically he's in comfortable position. Okay, of course you have to stay there for the whole hour and so on. Okay, and then we have something like this as well. Okay, so what we have is a supporting mechanism that runs through his leg. Okay, attached to the floor here. Okay, which is supporting the whole weight of this guy, so it's not falling off due to the push. Okay, so you need to recognize this in the world around you. Okay, I think for OG, we have seen this a lot. Okay, infamous dance movement by Michael Jackson. Right, one of his trick will be to have this kind of leaning dance. Okay, how he lean forward while dancing. Okay, and lean at an angle of 45 degrees. And then there's a way to do this. Leave it to you guys to figure out how does Michael Jackson do this on stage. Okay, while performing live. All right, so it's possible. You have to use a bit of engineering knowledge to accomplish this, and he actually done it. Okay, right. So let us go back to our discussion about moment. So we have here 4 cases. In the first case, we have the guy holding weight, okay, which is attached to this pole. And in this case, the weight itself, let's say the center of gravity is here, is pointing downward, and all the forces is being transferred to the ground. Okay, and if we remove the ground, what will be the reaction? We will have reaction force coming from the ground towards the pole. Okay, and this force is along the same line as W. So in this case, summation of force along Y is equal to 0. The object will not move. Okay, the weight is not moving. So summation of moment also equals to 0. Okay, the weight is not rotating at all. Okay. In the second case, what happened here is the guy allow the pole to have some angle. So in this case, we have certain angle here. Let's say alpha. So we have certain angle here. So due to this angle, what will happen to the weight? Okay, the weight stays the same. Okay, nothing changes. Right, the normal force will also be the same. Nothing changes. Okay, but in this case, the direction for normal force and weight is no longer along the same line. Okay, so the line of action for these two forces are no longer along the same line. So due to this, there will be some moment generated. Okay, you can try this experiment by yourself. Try to hold a pole with weight at one end. Okay, let the pole to have some angle. Okay, so in this case, you will be feeling a force. Okay, in your arm here. Okay, you need to do something to ensure that the whole setup will be in equilibrium. Okay, you need to apply some force here. Previously, you don't need to do anything. Okay, force here is equal to 0. Okay, so the force in your arm is equal to 0. In the second case, you need to apply some force in the arm to ensure that the whole thing will be in equilibrium. All right, and if you increase the angle further, say to beta, whereby beta is way larger than alpha. So in this case, what will happen? The weight remains the same. Normal force will also be the same. Line of action are not along the same line. But since the angle is bigger, now your force in the arm will be bigger as well. Okay, goes higher. All right. So why you need to apply a larger force? Because in this case, the moment is higher. Okay. Or some people also call this as the moment arm is getting bigger. Okay. And since the moment arm is getting bigger, the moment generated is getting bigger as well. All right. So this one way of doing this, increasing the angle. So the moment arm is increasing. Another approach would be, let's say, if we are talking about the same angle alpha, let's say this is still alpha, but if we increase this pole length, okay, so this is L2, way larger than L1. So let's say this is L1. Okay, if we increase the pole length, so the net effect will still increase our moment arm. Right, weight remains the same, normal force remains the same, but what changes here is the length, or basically moment arm is increasing. When moment arm is increasing, moment will increase as well. Okay, so we have two ways to increase this moment arm, which will later on increase our moment, either increasing the angle or increasing the length. Okay, the net effect will still be the same. Our moment arm will increase, which will lead to higher value of moment, which in the end of the day forces us to apply higher force in the arm to ensure that the object will be in equilibrium. Okay, hopefully you can imagine this happening in a real life scenario. Okay, probably you can't explain this, but physically this is what is happening. Okay, as the weight is further away, or basically having longer moment arm, you will feel that the force needed to ensure that the object or the mass to be in equilibrium will be higher. Okay, it is because we want to counter a bigger moment. Okay, due to bigger moment arm. All right, everything is clear. The time being, is it clear at the moment? All right. Okay. Cool. Let us move on. Next slide. Okay. So we will discuss why this moment exists. Okay, and where can we see this moment arm? Okay. In reality, the equation of moment is being described by this equation here. Okay, so moment vector is equal to position vector cross product with force vector. Okay, so force is one causing linear motion. Okay, if we take position vector cross product with F, we'll have this moment that will cause rotational motion. Okay, and since force is a vector quantity, this guy is a vector, moment itself is also a vector quantity. Okay, so a vector means moment has a magnitude and direction attached to it. Okay, this is in a general sense. This is the equation that we can apply for 2D and 3D case. Okay, let us start with 2D case first. Okay, for 2D case, this equation can be simplified as moment equals to force times distance. Okay, so this is the equation for 2D case. All right, so we'll start off with this first. Okay, to analyze moment problem in 2D. When we move into 3D, we'll see how we can apply this vector equation both for 2D and 3D case. Okay. So let me show you something here. Close this one first. That's it. Okay. So let's say we have something like this, right? We have a force, the magnitude of force is 10 Newton, and we have a pivot point, M. Okay, and the distance between the line of force towards the pivot point is 10 meter. Okay. So I've mentioned earlier, our moment equation in 2D, okay, let's say we start off in 2D first. Okay, in 2D, moment is equal to force times distance. Very simple equation, force times distance. Okay, let me be more precise with you. Okay, moment is point dependent. Okay, when I say moment is point dependent, it means that the value will depends on the location of point that you take this moment on. Okay, so for example, in this case, we are looking at this pivot point. Let's say I give it a name, point A. Okay, so in this case, the moment will be moment at point A. Okay, if I take different point, the moment will be different as well. Okay, so in this case, just for example's sake, I'm taking moment at point A. So this moment is moment at A. And it is due to a force. Which force? This force 10 Newton here. Okay. All right. And this force times D. Okay. What is this D? D needs to be a perpendicular distance. Okay. From line of force. Or some people also call this as line of action of the force. Okay. Towards point of moment. Okay, such a lengthy description for D. Okay, so D is basically perpendicular distance from where? From the line of force. Okay, the force is acting along certain line. Okay, and this perpendicular distance is from this line towards the point of moment. So for this particular example, this is our line of force or line of action for this force. Okay, so the force is acting along this line. Okay, that's the first thing. And then D is what? D is perpendicular distance from this line towards our point of moment. If we are talking about point A here, so D must be perpendicular. Perpendicular means 90 degrees. Okay, so this will be our D, which is equal to 10 meter. Okay, hopefully everyone is clear about this. So moment equation at A will be equal to the force itself 10 times the distance. In this case, distance is 10. So you have 100. What's the unit? Very simple. The unit of force is Newton. The unit of distance is in meter. So the unit of our moment will be in Newton meter. Okay, so moment, the unit is unit of force times length, Newton meter. Okay, in this case, if you look at this force, what would this force do about point A? This force will cause certain rotation about point A. Okay, so imagine in your head, what kind of rotation? In the case of 2D, we have only two options. Either the rotation is clockwise, or counterclockwise. Okay, so we have two options only, clockwise, counterclockwise in 2D case. So this is in 2D case. Okay, on this plane, we have two options, clockwise, counterclockwise. Okay, so picture in your head, we have this force F. Okay, and this force is causing rotational motion clockwise or counterclockwise about A. What do you think? Is it clockwise or counterclockwise about A?
Clockwise.
Clockwise?
Yeah.
Counterclockwise.
Okay, some of you are saying clockwise, some of you are saying counterclockwise. Okay, fair enough. At this moment, probably you can't see it yet. Okay, fair enough. We'll move into that. Okay, we'll see how we can determine whether the object is moving clockwise or counterclockwise. In this case, actually, it is moving counterclockwise. And if I'm saying that my convention is clockwise positive, just like force, when we say summation of force along x equals to 0, our convention is positive to the right. So anything that moves to the right is positive, anything that moves to the left is negative. In this case, for no arbitrary reason, no obvious reason, I'm just taking rotation clockwise positive. So in this case, if we adopt this convention, so the rotation or the moment due to this force is actually a counterclockwise. So basically the sign will be negative. So you have a negative 100 Newton meter. Okay. Now we'll see how we got all of this, right? For this particular example, it's not so clear about the rigid body and so on, because you don't see rigid body in this case. Okay, fine. Let me remove all of this. Okay. Let's look at a rigid body. Okay. So now we have a rigid body. Okay. What is our rigid body? This bar here, AB. Okay. And then we have force being applied here. And this force is at an angle of 0 degrees. So basically, we know straight away the angle here is 90 degrees. So basically, the line of force is horizontal and our member AB is vertical. Okay. So in this case, if I'm telling you the force is 10 Newton and the length AB is equal to 10 meter. So in this case, summation of moment at B, I'm taking positive clockwise convention as before. So in this case, it will be equal to force times distance, right? Generally, this is our general equation. So our force itself is 10 Newton, okay, and distance is 10 meter. In this case, what would F do to A? It will tend to rotate AB in a clockwise rotation. Okay, so clockwise rotation. And since clockwise rotation is along the same positive direction, along the same direction as our positive convention, so in this case, what we have here is a positive 100 Newton meter. Okay. Clear? Probably not so clear. Okay, fair enough. Let me simplify this further. Okay, what do I mean by simplifying this further? Okay, let's say I have a rigid body, the same rigid body, right? At point B, I have a pin joint. Okay, to make this simpler for you to think about, let me change this to a different orientation, something like this. A, so here is B, A. Okay, the weight is somewhere here. Okay, so this CG, the weight of the bar. Okay, so this is one configuration. The other configuration will be something like this. Point A. Center of gravity is still at the middle of the bar. Okay, so we have configuration 1, configuration 2. Okay, using your engineering judgment between these two, which case is the case whereby the bar will be in equilibrium, meaning it's not moving at all?
1.
Okay. At point B, we have a pin joint. Basically, it allows for rotational motion. Okay, it allows for rotational motion. So in this case, 1 will be in equilibrium. Basically not moving. Okay, or basically in static condition. Or in other words, summation of force equals to 0. Not only that, it is not rotating. Summation of moment also equals to 0. Okay. For case B, it is not in equilibrium condition. It will move. Okay, it will move. How does it move? It will rotate. Okay, rotate about B. Okay, it will rotate about B, and when I say it will rotate, is it rotating clockwise or counterclockwise about B?
Clockwise.
It will rotate clockwise. Okay, so basically you have clockwise rotation for pin joint B. Okay, so we need to understand who or what causes this clockwise rotation. Okay, now let us look at the problem one by one using the tools that we have, which is free body diagram. Okay, so for the first case, case 1. So what do we have? We have the pin joint, right? Okay, so what does this pin joint do? It support the whole thing. Okay, so we have point A, point B. So we have at G here, we have the weight. So who's the one supporting AB, not letting it go, not allowing it to free fall to the ground? It is the reaction at A here. So we have a normal force at the pin joint. Sorry, it's the other way around. Pin joint at B, A. Okay, so the reaction at A is 1, fighting against the weight. Right? For case 2, what we have is a modified version of it. Okay, we still have weight at the CG, always pointing downward. Okay, don't change the orientation of weight. Okay, at B, we still have our normal force. Okay, and this N for case 1 and 2 will be the same. Okay, in fact, we take summation of force along Y equals to 0. We will see that N equals to W. The same applies here. Summation of force along Y equals to 0. N equals to W. Okay, they are the same, which is equal to the weight. Okay, now what's changing here? Previously, the line of force for N and W are along the same lines. In this case, the line of forces for N and W are not coinciding each other. They are not along the same line. So in this case, we will have rotation. Okay, why? Because summation of moment is not equal to 0. Here, summation of moment is equal to 0. In this case, summation of moment is not equal to 0. Okay, so how do we tell? Okay, the amount will be equal to F times distance. Okay, so we need to take a point of moment, right? So where should I take the point of moment? For example, if I take moment at A, at point A, so I will have moment coming from W. Okay, so we have this is distance for W, and then we have moment coming from N. So this is distance for N. Okay, so weight times dW will give you one moment, and times dN will give you another moment. Okay, so the sum of these two moments will not be equal to 0. You'll have a value. So that's the reason why the object will rotate here. Okay, that's the reason why it will rotate clockwise. Okay, basically that is what happens here. Okay, now I can change the direction of this force in arbitrary direction. Okay, so let us look into that. So this force, I can orientate the force in any angle that I like. For example, for no reason, at 35 degrees. Okay, so this is my force. If I'm saying the magnitude is still the same, distance AB is still the same, 10 meter. Oh, sorry. 10 meter. Our moment will be equal to what? Again, the equation is still the same, F times D. If I'm taking moment at B, so in this case, the force needs to be multiplied with D. D is what? D is perpendicular distance from the line of force. Where is our line of force? This is our line of force. Line of force. Okay, perpendicular distance from the line of force towards point of moment. I'm talking about moment at B. So B is our point of moment. So perpendicular distance will be from the line of force perpendicular to B. So this is the guy. This is our D. Okay. So we know force, we know AB, we don't know D yet. Okay, so we need to figure out what's the value of our D, this distance here. Okay, so we can use our knowledge about angles. So in this case, we know here the angle is 35 degrees. So since we know this angle plus something which we don't know yet is 90 degrees. So this angle is actually equal to 90 degrees minus 55 degrees equals to 55 degrees. Okay, so you'll end up with, in this case, if this is 55, actually the angle here is 35 degrees. Okay, so to find D, we can either use 55 or 35. Okay, either one will do. We know AB, we can find D. So for example, if I'm using 35 degrees, okay, if I'm using 35 degrees, what kind of triangle I'm getting or I'm looking at? I'm looking at something like this. So this is point B, point A, and I know the length is 10 meter here. The angle is 90 degrees. I'm using 35 degrees angle here, and I want to find this D. Okay, so basically what we have, D over 10 is equals to cos of 35 degrees. So D is equals to 10 cos 35 degrees. That is our D. Okay, so to calculate our moment at B equals to the force, the magnitude is 10, multiply with D, 10 cos 35 degrees, and the rotation in this case, we will have rotation which is clockwise. Okay, so the rotation generated will be clockwise. This moment at B, right? So since the rotation is clockwise, so you'll have a positive value here. Okay, so that is the moment at B. Okay.
So
Clear?
I have a question.
Yep.
Well, can we use like 10 meters and multiply by fx? So like 10 cos 35.
Yep.
Because
We
it's a
can.
perpendicular, no?
Okay. Another approach will be using f cos 35 degrees multiply with the distance 10 meter. Okay, and you'll end up with the same moment. Okay, now the question is, why can we use this approach? Mathematically, they looks the same, right? Physically, why we can use that approach? Okay, the force itself can be decomposed into its component. So you have component Fx and Fy. Okay, we can decompose this force into its component Fx and Fy. So if we do that, for each one of these force components will have their own D. Okay, so for fx, dx is equals to the length of AB. Okay, so remember D is what? D is perpendicular distance from the line of force. Line of force for fx is this line. So the angle here is 90 degrees. Okay. As for Fy, the line of force is this line. So what is the perpendicular distance from the line of force Fy to point B? Since Fy in this case pass through B, so D for Fy will be equal to 0. Okay, so that's the reason why here we have only contribution coming from Fx only. There's no Fy. Okay, to be precise and exact with you, actually, if we want to include Fy in this particular equation, we will have F sine 35 degrees, but this Fy is multiplied with 0. Okay, since dy is 0. So this is our Fy, this is our dy. So the whole lot goes to 0. Okay, clear? Hopefully this is clear for everyone. To give you something to relate to, physically, this is what we are having. If I have the same AB, picture this in your mind. If I have the same AB, and instead of this point B, this point A, instead of having this force and angle 35 degrees or 0 degrees from horizontal axis, I can also orientate the force to be something like this. Okay, completely vertical. Okay, along the length of AB. Okay, so imagine you have something like this. Okay, I don't know whether you can see my video feed or not. Yeah, I'm holding my marker, something like this. All right, so it can dangle. If I apply a force vertically downward, I'm pulling the whole thing. Okay, or in this case, I'm pulling F upward. So the force cannot rotate AB. Okay, the force can only pull AB, but it cannot rotate. There's no rotation at all. Okay, why that is the case? Because the line of force pass through the point of moment. Basically, your D is equal to 0. Clear? Okay. If force pass through point moment, so your D equals to 0. Clear on this?
The summation of force also not equal to 0, sir.
Summation of force for this case.
Yes.
Summation of force is equal to 0. If you take free body diagram, what you have F, you have normal force here, N. Okay, it is equal to 0. But since in this case, summation of moment also equals to 0, so you have no rotation. And why summation of moment equals to 0? Because D is equal to 0. Why D is equal to 0? Because the line of force pass through point of moment, point B. Okay, I'm talking about point B here. Okay, pass through point B. Clear on this? Are we clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Now, if I want to go back to previous example that we have. Grab the bar, right? And I supported the bar directly underneath the weight. This CG here. So we have our normal force here. Okay. This is pretty bad representation of free body diagram. If I want to draw a free body diagram, I should do it this way, remove the support. So this is our free body diagram. So in this case, the line of weight and normal force will be the same. So in this case, summation of force equals to 0, summation of moment also equals to 0. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now, if we draw the free body diagram for slightly different case, in this case, instead of having support directly at the CG location, I can move the support slightly to the left or right. So for example, in this case, I just move it here. Okay, I have only one support. So in this case, just by looking at this example, we can picture in our head, we are supporting only on one side of it. If we let the bar go, it will fall down. And how it falls down, it will rotate as it falls down. When it rotates, it means that the summation of moment is no longer equal to 0. Okay, how do we see that from the free body diagram? Okay, so what we'll have here is our normal force, and here we have our weight. Okay, and weight is acting along different lines. Okay, fine. But still, and weight is the same thing. Okay, previously we have summation of force along y equals to 0 and equals to the weight. Okay, the same applies here. Summation of force along y equals to 0. So what we have, n is still equals to the weight. Okay, but if we look at the summation of moment, and if I take moment to be positive, okay, in order for this rigid body to be in equilibrium, not moving at all, the summation of moment should be equals to 0. Now the next question is, at which point? Before this, I've told you that summation of moment, or basically moment equation, is point dependent. Okay, in this case, how many points that I have? Let's say I give it a name, say point A, point G, point B. Okay, same thing applies here, point A, point G in the middle, and point B. So the summation of moment should be applied at which point? To maintain equilibrium, okay, to ensure that the object will be in equilibrium, the summation of moment should be equals to 0 anywhere, at any point, at any location. So in this case, you can choose any point, any location. Summation of moment should be equals to 0 anywhere. Okay, since here we have 3 points, let's say we try to solve the moment equation for each one of these 3 points. Let's say we start off with point A. So what will happen? In this case, we have moment coming from W and N. Okay. Let us start one by one. Let us consider N first. Okay. So we have N. Our moment equation is F times D into D. Okay. So bear in mind, force times distance. Distance is from the line of force towards point of moment. Since in this case we are talking about point A, so our force that we are referring to now is N. So the line of force of N towards A will give us our D. So what is our D? D in this case will be this value, Dn. Okay. As for W, the distance will be this guy here, dW. Okay. Basically, perpendicular distance from the line of force towards point of moment, point A. The same applies here. Perpendicular distance from the line of force towards point of moment, point A. Okay. So for N, the distance will be equal to dW. Okay. And looking at the force itself, it is causing a rotation counterclockwise about A. Counterclockwise will be giving us a negative moment, since it's against our convention here. Counterclockwise rotation about A, negative moment. And then we have moment coming from W times the distance dW. Oh, my bad. This is not dW, this is dN. Sorry about that. So this dN dW. Okay. And the rotation due to W about A is clockwise. Okay. So moment at A is equal to this value. And N is not equal to 0. W also not equal to 0. dn is not a zero distance. dw is also not a zero distance. Okay, so all of these is not zero. Okay, so there exists a moment about point A, and the value is not equal to 0. Okay. If we do the same calculation, now using a different point, let's say point G. Okay, so what will happen at point G? At point G, we start off with n first. We have n multiplied with distance. Okay, distance from n to G will be equals, in this case, dw minus dn. Okay, dw minus dn. Right. And n will create rotation clockwise about point G. Okay, clockwise means direction is positive. Okay. As for w itself, w is pointing downward and acting directly at point G. And G happens to be our point of moment. Since this force is passing through point of moment, the perpendicular distance from the line of force from the line of W towards point G will be equal to 0. So in this case, if you want to put it, W times 0. Okay. And since we know n is not 0, dw is also not 0, dn not 0. So in the end of the day, this is also not 0. Okay. And if we take summation of moment at point B, okay, again, positive clockwise as our convention. At point B, we start off with n times the distance will be equals, in this case, what will be the distance? AB, okay. dw, okay. So basically from n to B, the distance will be equal to dw. Okay, how do I get that dw? Okay, very simple. A to W, the distance is dw. So basically the distance here is also dw. Okay. So from n to B, it will be equal to dw plus dw minus dn. Okay. And then what do we have here? For W, sorry, for n, the rotation is clockwise, so the direction is positive. For W, the rotation is counterclockwise, so the moment is negative. So we have W times the distance dw. Okay. Since n is not 0, dw is not 0, dn not 0, w also not 0. So everything is not 0. Okay. Some of you might be wondering, are they the same? Okay. We'll take a look on each one of them. Okay. Let's say I change the color. So for the first one, MA. If I want to expand this will be equal to W dw minus n dn. Okay. For B, sorry, for the second one, moment at G. So what we have here, this part is 0. Okay. No need to consider that. So here we have n dw minus n dn. N dw minus n dn. Okay, some of you might be wondering, are these two the same or not? Okay, mine n is equal to w. So basically these two are the same. Okay, so n dn, of course, the same thing. N itself is equal to w. So w dw and n dw are basically the same thing. Okay, so these two are the same. Right. And lastly, moment at B. Okay, so moment at B in this case are pretty lengthy here. Let me simplify it further for you. So what we have here is n times 2 dw minus dn minus W dW. Okay, so here what we have here, since n is equal to W, so 2n dW will be equal to 2W dW minus W dW. So you have here W dW minus n dn. Okay, so this this will be equal to W dW minus n dn. Okay, so basically the same thing as well. And all of these is not equal to 0. Okay, not equal to 0. All of these moment not equal to 0. And since they are not equal to 0, we can see that our rigid body will rotate. Okay, it will rotate when we let it go. Okay, clear? Or a bit too much? Clear? All right, okay. Let me remove this one first. Okay, so if we are having this, and I can show you the perpendicular distance. So this will be the perpendicular distance. This will be line of action for the force. And you can see that if I change the angle, the perpendicular distance will also change depending on the line of action or the line of force. Okay, so previously I start off with something like this. So the perpendicular distance will be the same length as AB. Okay, so if I change the angle, what you need to do is to determine the line of force, and then from that line of force determine the perpendicular distance. Okay, and how do we know the angle itself? Okay, let's say if I want to make this simple for all of you, instead of talking this as an angle, let's say I'm calling this as theta. Okay, if this is theta, this will be the same theta. Okay, and we know this theta add up with a not theta. I call it beta, for example. So theta plus beta is equal to 90 degrees. Okay. And since we know this is a perpendicular distance, so the angle here is 90 degrees. Okay. So if this is beta, this is 90 degrees, this guy must be theta. Why that is so? Because I know beta plus theta will be equal to 90 degrees. Why? Because here we have a triangle. We have a triangle. So angle within the triangle is 180 degrees. So 180 degrees. And this 180 degrees is equal to 90 degrees. This guy here, 90 degrees. Plus with beta and theta. Okay. And we can rearrange this guy, 90 degrees, bring to the left hand side. So we have 90 degrees equals to beta plus theta. Exactly the same as this equation. Okay. So that's how we know this to be equal to theta as well. Okay, so you need to be able to determine the angle pretty quickly just by looking at the triangle diagram. Okay. So the perpendicular distance will change according to the angle. So if I change the angle of the force, you can see that the perpendicular distance also changes. Okay, so let's say the angle is 40 degrees. Okay, now can someone give me the equation for the perpendicular distance? D equals to what?
AB cos 50.
AB cos 50. AB cos 50. Okay. You're saying D equals to AB cos 50 degrees. Okay. Now let us check what we have here. This is 40 degrees, this is 50 degrees, this is 40 degrees. Okay. So if we want to use 50 degrees, so what kind of triangle that you are having? This is 90 degrees. Okay. So if I want to draw the triangle so that it's much easier for you to see, 90 degrees, point B, point A, the angle here is 50 degrees. So AB is known to us. What we want to find is this D. D is the perpendicular distance. So D over AB equals to cos 50 degrees. So D is equals to AB cos 50 degrees. All right. Okay. Is that so? Is this the right one? No. Because when we talk about D, D is what? What is D? Again, perpendicular distance from line of force towards point of moment. Okay, so in this case, our point of moment is point B. Okay, point B. So the line of force is this line. D is actually from the line towards B. So this is our D. D. So this is not our D. D is here. Okay, if D is here, so these two is no longer true. Okay, so that means that from this triangle, our relationship is D over AB is equal to sine of 50 degrees. So D is actually AB sine 50 degrees. Okay, D is equal to AB sine 50 degrees. All right, so don't remember the equation, understand where the equation is coming from. Okay, because the direction of the angle can be changed easily. Okay, I can change it a lot. So for example, is this okay? Everyone got how we arrive to this? D is equal to AB sine 50 degrees.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me change this a bit to have more fun with all of you. Let me change this. Okay. Let's say it is 30 degrees. And move it here. Okay. So what is the expression for our D? What's the value for D? In terms of AB and the angles. Okay, don't panic. Look at the problem and solve it one by one. Here we have 30 degrees, so the angle here is also 30 degrees. So this line, sorry, red color, okay. So this line and these lines, both of them are horizontal lines. So if the angle here is 30 degrees, so here is also 30 degrees. And we know this is our perpendicular distance. So basically the angle between the line of force towards this D is 90 degrees. Okay. So at the end of the day, what kind of triangle that we have? We have this triangle. So this is triangle that we are having. 90 degrees. The angle here is 30 plus 30, 60 degrees. Okay, and this is A, this is B, this is the D that we want. Again, from this right angle triangle, we can say D over AB will be equal to sine sine 60 degrees. So D is equal to AB sine 60 degrees. Okay, so that is our perpendicular distance D. All right. If we want to use the component of force to solve this problem, okay, so how do we do that? Again, we can resolve this force along x and y axis. So if we do that, so let's say in this case, just to illustrate the point with you, in this case, the moment at B, positive clockwise, will be equal to the force itself, the magnitude of force. Let's say I'm just giving a generic value here, F, let's say the magnitude is F, times the distance, perpendicular distance here, which is equal to AB sine 60 degrees. Okay, so this is the value. All right. And with this force arrangement at B, the rotation will be clockwise, so moment will be positive. Okay, so the moment is positive. Okay, fine. So this moment at B, right? If we want to resolve this force along x and y, is another. Oh, my bad. Okay, how we do that? Oh yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Now my second approach is to resolve everything along x and y. So if we do that, our force, we have two parts, fx, fy. Okay, so in terms of this component, fx is equal to f cos 30 degrees, fy is f sine 30 degrees. Okay, and we know we have dx and dy for each one of them. Okay, so this is the line of force for fx. So d from fx towards point B will be this guy here, which is equal to dx, and d from the line of force of fy towards point B will be this guy here. So this is our dy. If we want to write down the equation, we are still taking moment at B, summation of moment B clockwise is positive. That's our convention. So this, let's say we start off with Fy first. So what we have here is Fy times the distance is dy, and the rotation about B is clockwise, positive. And then we have Fx rotating about B, the rotation is still positive, clockwise rotation. So we have Fx times dx. Substitute the values. Fy is F sine 30 degrees times dy. dy itself is this guy, which is AB. AB cos 30 degrees. Okay, and then we have Fx. Fx is this guy, F cos 30 degrees times dx, in this case, AB sine 30 degrees. Okay. So here, what do we have? We have F. Oh, okay, exactly. F times AB, F sine 30 degrees, cos 30 degrees. Okay, and then we have here F times AB, cos 30 degrees, sine 30 degrees. Okay, cool. All right. Or in other words, we can write here F times AB sine 30 degrees, cos 30 degrees. Let me stop it here. Okay. For those who love maths, you can prove that this part here is actually equals to this part here. You can use trigo identity, right? Sine 2 theta is equals to sine theta cos theta plus cos theta sine theta, those kind of thing. Okay, basically they are the same. All right, so we can calculate the same moment either using perpendicular distance or by resolving the force along x and y. Okay, in the end of the day, the idea is still the same. When you want to calculate moment, it will be equal to the force times perpendicular distance from the line of force towards the point of moment. So to calculate moment, what you need to know, you want to calculate moment at which point. At which point. Okay. Once you have recognized that, where is your line of force? Okay. Once you have recognized that, you have to determine the distance from line of force towards the point of moment. Okay, that is the idea. To calculate moment at point, you need to know the line of force and then determine the distance from the line of force towards the point of moment. So the magnitude of the moment in 2D will be equal to the force magnitude times distance magnitude. Okay, so basically that's the idea here. All right, so it doesn't matter whether you want to find the perpendicular distance or you want to resolve the force along x and y. In the end of the day, it still boils down to moment equals to force times perpendicular distance. So your force can be x and y component of force, or the resultant force F times the perpendicular distance. Okay, either one will do. All right. Any questions so far? Clear?
Clear.
Clear? All right. Okay. If there's no other question, I'm going to stop the class here. Okay, good luck for your test. You have 1 hour to solve all 3 questions. So basically, each question needs to be solved within 20 minutes, right? So please make sure you use your time wisely. My advice will be, don't panic when you see the question. Start off with the one that is easiest for you. Okay, we have 3 questions. Nobody is forcing you to start always with question number 1. Okay, so you can start with either one of the question that is easiest for you to solve, and then later on you can solve the other one after that. Right? Okay. All the best for your test. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.